Good to see you.
Thank you. It is good to be back. I missed you guys.
Yeah, I know how that can be.
Yeah, we've had a lot going on here in our family, as you all know. So, taking everything day by day. I just want to thank all of you all for all of the condolences and words of encouragement. Believe it or not, that stuff actually really works. So, thank everyone. All right, let me spotlight. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am Arkey Hodges, president of the Black Achievement Fund, and we are here for an info session. This month is International Black Women's History Month. So in continuing with that theme, today we are going to be highlighting someone who I just discovered recently. And when I saw this video, it just absolutely blew my mind that I'd never heard of this extraordinary young woman. So today we are going to be introduced to Elizabeth Evelyn Wright, who is the founder of Vorhees University. And she founded this university in 1897, so in South Carolina. So you already know the climate in which she's creating this institution, and it's for all Black people. She described herself as the female Booker T. Washington of the time. So I'm really, really, really excited to enlighten you all with this extraordinary woman's story. And it's particularly important right now because of all of the things that the president is doing to dismantle Black history from not just the curriculum, but every aspect of American society. So if we're not going to keep our history alive, we should know right now that no one's going to do it for us. And we can't rest upon our laurels and think that the rights that we gained during the civil rights movement are permanent rights, as we right now can see again. So the Black Achievement Fund, we are, for those of you who are just tuning in and wanting to know more about what we are an economic and community development corporation with the mission of financing our own development. We have a very simple model for doing it, Ujamaa, collective economics, 10 million Black people and our allies, plus $9 a month equals $90 million a month. Just ponder that for a while. We say that so much, but when you really sit back and think about the power of having $90 million at your disposal, what you could do, what we could do collectively. So that is our mission. Right now, we have a little over 3,400 members across all 50 states, as well as about 5 dozen members internationally. We have a ton of accomplishments, achievements that we've made since we started collecting contributions in June of 2020. So I invite you all to go to our website, baf.solutions, not .org or .com or anything like that, just baf.solutions. And you can learn all about all of the other things that the Black Achievement Fund is doing. And if you want to join right now, just go to baf.solutions/join. All right. Membership is $9 a month. It won't hurt you. All right. So we're going to get right into our presentation for today on Elizabeth Wright. And members of the Black Achievement Fund, you guys get free copy of the Standing on the Shoulders of Giants curriculum. We are in the process now of creating a new education series in honor of J.A. Rogers, who created the world's great men and women of color volumes in the 1940s. And this is world's great Black African people and places in history. So the first person that we're going to be debuting is none other than Elizabeth Wright. All right. And I'm actually going to walk you through this free class that we have right now. So those of you who open the email, there's a button in your email that says free class that will take you to what you see in front of you here. And all of the classes in this series will be structured in the same format. It will highlight a great African person, male or female, or place in history. You'll have your overview. We have some warm-up discussion questions before listening. Here, why do you think education is important for everyone? What does it mean to inspire someone or to be inspired by someone? Can you think of a time when someone inspired you to achieve your goals? What challenges do you think people face when trying to pursue their dreams? Just basic questions, conversation starters for those of you who are educators and those of you who just may want to talk this over with your own children. We have your lesson. In this case, it's our 26-minute video that we're about to show. We have a Pick the Right Summary section, and this section provides 3 different summaries of the video, and the student has to guess know the right summary. And this is just so that you know that they're comprehending what they're reading if you're not there to give them the course directly. And then we have a quiz. And you fill your name out here and complete the quiz. It's 10 questions. If you get a C or above, you will get an official certificate from Education for Life Academy, all right? A certificate of completion. And once again, this is free to all Black Achievement Fund members. And hopefully we can take the quiz together after the video to test your knowledge. And then we also have discussion questions after the video and extra resources, which also includes a book. Oh, I gotta move this by now, and you can actually buy the book from here. So that's the structure of our free classes. And now we are going to go right into our video.
The woman who did so much, I could take a few minutes to drive to her grave and sweep the leaves off. She was a beautiful spirit. The beauty of her contributions, the beauty of her life is so inspiring that I can't help but celebrate her. English professor Dr. Eugenia Rochelle teaches at Vorhees College in Denmark, South Carolina. She is one of more than 38,000 people who have had their lives enriched by education, because this woman focused on achieving one goal. At age 25, Elizabeth Evelyn Wright founded the Denmark Industrial School for Colored People in 1897. That school is now Vorhees University, and as of April 2022, has operated continuously for 125 years. Founding a school is an impressive achievement for any 19th century Black woman. It is specifically notable for one who started life in this rural Talbotton, Georgia neighborhood. When Lizzie was born in 1872, Talbotton was among the state's wealthiest cities. It even had a school that educated women, if they were white. But Black children didn't have schools. Instead, most likely a teacher from the North taught classes in the basement of this former African Methodist Episcopal church.
Elizabeth Evelyn Wright got started school at around age 7, and the school year back then lasted around about 3 months. And from there, she decided at age 16, decided to attend Tuskegee because By this age, she was wanted more and more out of her life.
Slaves and their descendants have lived and been buried here for more than 150 years. Still, Lizzie, as she was called when she lived here, was fortunate. Her father had regular work as a carpenter. He most likely helped construct the beautiful churches and large homes for the wealthy in town. He also built a 3-room house on land he owned for Lizzie and her full siblings, and a separate house for the family of his second wife, Mary. Mary's house and the house belonging to Lizzie's mother, Virginia, stood side by side. Virginia was full-blooded Cherokee. Lizzie's stepmother cared for Wesley's many children from both women. Outsiders thought they were one family. Wesley Wright was described as tall and stout. Lizzie may have inherited her father's physique, but not his robust health. She lived a life plagued by debilitating stomach problems. The ability to read and write rerouted Lizzie's future when a flyer from Alabama inspired her to attend college in Tuskegee. She wanted to leave immediately, but didn't have any money. She worked and saved until she was 16, then boarded a train and stepped off into a completely different world. These black people didn't behave like any she had ever seen.
For the most part, they wanted an education and they were very serious about their studies.
Lanice Middleton is an 82-year-old author who lived on the Tuskegee campus as a child.
The students wore the uniforms for the line of march, and they had on dark, I believe those were navy blue skirts or black skirts with white blouses, and they had little bows that went across the top. And they were required to go to chapel, and the ladies sat on one side, the gentlemen sat on the other.
Booker T. Washington and 2 of the women he married played an important part in Lizzie's new outlook on life.
I was at Tuskegee only a short time before I made up my mind to try and be the same type of woman as Mr. Washington was of a man.
But getting an education didn't go as smoothly as Lizzie planned. Students did a lot of hard work.
Originally, it started out with about a $50 expense, of which a student was expected to pay at least $8.50 of that expense and try to work it off.
Records show that at first, Lizzie worked in the cafeteria. She was expected to arrive at 6 a.m., then eat when the other students left. She attended academic classes at night. The grueling schedule broke her already fragile health. Still, she managed to impress someone who had the power to improve her life.
It's obvious that she did, strike the fancy of Olivia Davidson.
That's Booker T. Washington's second wife. In a letter, he said, if it wasn't for Olivia Davidson, Tuskegee would not exist. She had a variety of positions. Primarily, she was like the assistant principal of the school. Maybe she saw something in Lizzie that others didn't see, that she was a hard worker. And both Washingtons, Olivia Davidson and Booker T, admired that in people, that they were hard workers, they were dependable. All that came into play.
Olivia changed Lizzie's workload. Lizzie's new duties included managerial responsibilities and possibly close contact with the Washingtons.
There's a good chance that she did work for the Washingtons in their home. The Washingtons entertained a lot of people. The Washingtons were interested in using the students that were most capable. Because of what Lizzie was able to accomplish at Vorhees, I think that's indicative of what she was doing here at Tuskegee and probably the impact that she made here as a student.
Olivia also introduced Lizzie to a man who became an advisor and lifelong supporter. Massachusetts-based District Court Judge George Washington Kelly paid for all of Lizzie's classes. But neither Judge Kelly's financial support nor her lightened work schedule changed Lizzie's severe health problems. She became too ill to make it through her senior year and had to leave the Tuskegee campus, but not the Tuskegee Support Network. Olivia Davidson Washington provided her a safety net in the form of another wealthy benefactor, Almira Steele. Almira was a former elementary school principal from Massachusetts. Her father and deceased husband left her inheritance money that made her very, very wealthy. She used it to move south and start schools for Black people.
She built maybe 11 schools in the South. They were burned because the Ku Klux Klan would follow her around. And whenever she started a school, they made plans to burn it down.
Almira stopped building schools after the Ku Klux Klan burned down the one in McNeil, South Carolina. She fled to Tennessee and took Lizzie and the other teachers with her. The KKK torching did not intimidate Lizzie. It lit a fire in her heart and inspired her to finish her Tuskegee degree. By then, there was a new Mrs. Booker T. Washington. Olivia died in 1889 and never got to see Lizzie graduate. Margaret Murray, the third woman to marry Booker T., was her own type of powerhouse who also liked Lizzie. The two stayed in contact after Lizzie graduated in 1894. Lizzie headed straight back to South Carolina and spent the next 3 years being literally burned out or run off 10 potential school locations. The brutality she endured is still remembered in some of those communities several generations later.
This lady came on the train. They said she got out, got off the train, she was walking with her suitcase and all of her schooling things that she needed. And as you know, there was a law against African American having education in a gun. Those was a violation. And they say that this group of white men seen her, so they asked her where was she going, and she told them that she was coming up this way to start a school. And they say that they got all of her manuscripts scattered all over and almost beat her out of her dress.
I noticed that she tried to set up a school in this area, the Govan area, after traveling from Hampton side, trying to set up a school there. And the whites wouldn't let her. They ran around the community. And that's when she came to the Govan area and tried to set up a school here in our area. And the whites ran her from here. And she went on to Denmark.
Lizzie's health problems also flared up in Hampton County, South Carolina. Gastritis made her so sick that Almira sent her to the sanatorium in Battle Creek, Michigan, run by Dr. John Kellogg, one of the most recognized physicians in the country.
That's when Dr. John Harvey Kellogg gave her a diet and gave her exercises and so forth. Kellogg had everybody there. Kellogg had the president of the United States. He had Ford. He had all kinds of people would come down to his Battle Creek Sanitarium to get rest.
Lizzie spent 2 months under Dr. Kellogg's care. During that time, Jessie Dorsey ran Lizzie's school.
Jessie actually carried on the work for about 2 months while she was gone. Then when she came back, they both worked together.
She was a trained health worker that Almira had sent to Lizzie as a private nurse and co-educator. Almira met Jessie at Battle Creek, where she had studied for 3 years under Dr. Kellogg. In South Carolina, Jessie became Lizzie's closest friend. In 1897, they were forced out of Hampton County and started a one-room school in Govan. Early in the year, Lizzie walked 8 miles from Govan to Denmark, South Carolina, to meet an attorney and state senator named Stanwix Mayfield. It was a milestone in her life and the people she would soon be able to educate. But it didn't start off well. In Mayfield's mind, Lizzie was only qualified to teach in Orangeburg at what is now South Carolina State University. She didn't want to do that and told him so, bluntly.
Thanks, but I'm not seeking a job for myself. I want to build an industrial school in which to teach poor boys and girls of my race to lead useful lives.
Mayfield issued a challenge to her. He promised to help Lizzie start a school if she brought him a written recommendation from Booker T. Washington. She did. Elmira also paid Mayfield a visit, and he kept his word. When Lizzie and Jesse reached Denmark, Lizzie fast-tracked her school by getting German immigrant Maria Sontag to rent her the second story of this building in 1897. They used painted sheets for blackboards, and younger students had to sit on the floor. 14 people registered, but in this place in April that year, Lizzie started her school. Now all she had to do was pay for the land, located behind Rome Baptist Church. Mayfield allowed her to do so on very lenient terms. She visited 33 different black churches to raise $184.54 so she could pay the $200 deposit. Then she began to work on turning the 2 shacks and 1 rundown mansion on the property into classrooms. That was going to take time. She filled some of it by continuing to teach a small group on the 2nd floor of Sontag's building until about June. It's here the story of Lizzie Wright ends.
All of our records record her as Lizzie up until after she has graduated.
But the story of Elizabeth Evelyn Wright, founder of the Denmark Industrial and Normal School, just gets started.
The reason that Lizzie probably changed her name to Elizabeth is because Lizzie is a child's name.
That taking on starting a school needed a more formal or appropriate name. Lizzie is remnants of slavery. Elizabeth is a more proper name for a teacher.
There was no support from the state. Elizabeth and Jesse had to make do to make it work. Students cooked, cleaned, and farmed, just like Elizabeth and her classmates had done at Tuskegee. Lizzie had her school, but she wanted more.
She wanted land. She wanted an area that could demonstrate what could be done. It wasn't something that you could look at right away and say, whoa, that's going someplace. No. But she showed that it could be done, and it could be done in her backyard, and it could be done by her as a black woman.
She wanted to expand. The meager donations from local black churches didn't cover that. The money barely covered operating expenses.
Elizabeth walked trying to raise money to build the school, and she went about different churches collecting sometimes 2 pennies, 3 pennies, 45 cents, or whatever.
For anything else, Elizabeth traveled north, a lot. At the same time, Elizabeth had adamantly rejected receiving large donations that had strings attached. Dr. John Kellogg offered to pay for the school if Elizabeth affiliated it totally with the Seventh-day Adventist. She refused his offer.
I don't think that Elizabeth Evelyn Wright refused financial support from John Harvey Kellogg because he was a Seventh-day Adventist. She didn't want any religious principles or anyone telling her what to do or how to run the school.
It's true. Jesse Dorsey, Elmira Steele, and Dr. Kellogg were Adventists, But Elizabeth faithfully followed more traditional beliefs. She was crushed when a local black pastor falsely denounced her as not being a true Christian.
Adventism was competition for other denominations. So this pastor saw Adventism as a foreign outside element that was trying to take his flock, as it were. So he was opposed to Adventism.
The Reverend Samuel Rice eventually had to realize that the only dogmas Elizabeth recognized were those taught at Tuskegee University by Booker T. and Margaret Murray Washington. That made her practical. She knew who would employ her students, what jobs would be available to them, and what skills would and would not be tolerated by Southern white people at the beginning of the 20th century.
They were very careful at that time with the women to not just teach housework. There might be some sewing, there might be some knitting taught. There certainly was reading, writing, arithmetic. But what they didn't want was to emulate what the slaves had been, the house slaves. And, oh yeah, you know how to make a bed, you know how to, cook a meal. It had to be more. And the more included that land, that agricultural demonstration, that industrial demonstration from carpentry to really sort of minor architecture.
Elizabeth's wise decisions meant her school continued to attract record numbers of students. By 1900, she had 2 other Tuskegee graduates teaching with her in Denmark. One was Martin A. Menifee. The school hired him as a stenographer, but soon made him its treasurer. It was Menifee's letter-writing persistence that linked Elizabeth to the school's most important benefactor, Ralph Vorhees. Menifee urged Elizabeth to travel and meet the blind philanthropist in New Jersey. The two liked each other immediately. What was booked as a 10-minute face-to-face session lasted much longer. Elizabeth described the 280 acres of land she wanted to buy from a white dentist named Dr. S.D.M. Guess. The asking price was $3,000. Voorhees offered to donate the full amount. But the deal hit a snag because Dr. Guess suddenly refused to sell unless he was paid $4,500.
The effects of the Civil War still within his frame of mind and of thinking, and he decided to raise the amount of money that he had previously asked Elizabeth Wright for, because he knew that she was obtaining the money from a Northern.
Elizabeth fretted and delayed explaining the problem to Voorhees, but he solved it quickly with a $5,000 donation. That paid for the land. Elizabeth applied the remaining $500 to the construction of the school's first building. Her students built what a Tuskegee architect designed. Her school flourished, and she used her board of directors to showcase diversity in ways that could shame major institutions in the 21st century. Some of her wealthier board members paid for the water tower, utility installation, even teacher salaries.
I think that she decided to mix those people together just to get a wide variety of people that would encompass her ideas on education and what she was trying to do, because this had never been done before, not in the fashion that she had done.
Declined an offer to sit on the school's board. He also never set foot on the campus. Ralph Voorhees, his wife, and Elizabeth developed a lasting friendship. She changed the name of the school to honor his support. He continued to make large donations to the college until his death in 1907. His wife also made major contributions. Elizabeth's leadership and ability to surround herself with influential people made the school prosper. Her personal life did as well. She and Menifee married in June 1906 and lived in a house on campus called the Oaks. A month later, Elizabeth was in so much pain that Elmira paid for her return to Battle Creek for a third and last time.
In 1906, they tried to find a local doctor to help her. Then they took her to, I think, Augusta, Georgia, to the hospital there. And then finally, Elmira Steele said, let's send her to Dr. John Harvey Kellogg.
Early in December, she wrote to tell her husband that she was feeling better and expected to come home. But that didn't happen. The founder of Vorhees College died in Battle Creek, Michigan, on an operating table, December 14th, 1906. But this is not the end of a sad story. Elizabeth Evelyn Wright passed away knowing three things. She had lived a life of purpose. She made decisions forged in faith, and she had found love.
Few people outside the state of South Carolina know about Elizabeth Evelyn Wright because she died before her 35th birthday. She didn't get a chance to see Vorhees College expand to Vorhees University. She didn't get a chance to train a successor, and she didn't get a chance to cultivate her own legacy. But we are here 125 years later because what she founded was so structurally sound, and it continues to uplift and impact the lives of students who benefit from her vision. The world lost a leader when Elizabeth Evelyn Wright died. However, we should all be grateful that she used the few years she had to show us just what it takes to achieve the next level of excellence.
These are some of the faces and names of the more than 38,000 people who have lived lives of prosperity and success because one woman wanted to open a school for Black people in South Carolina. In 2022, on its 125th anniversary, this institution still shines as a beacon of hope and the tangible manifestation of Elizabeth Evelyn Wright's dreams.
Because what she did made it possible for so many young people to get an education, to get jobs, and to have good lives. She has made it possible for me to work today. So I'm thankful to her for all that she has done for me and thousands of young men and women, and in the future to come.
I mean, absolutely fascinating story. When I think about what's being done to our history, and I think about a 16-year-old Black girl right now today, and then I watch something like this and I learned that Elizabeth Wright in the late 1800s, at age 16, left by herself from Georgia to move to South Carolina. Or first she went to, Tuskegee, by herself. And then after she left there, still in her teens, went to start a school. She said, I'm gonna be the equivalent of a Booker T. Washington, the female version of a Booker T. Washington. And to know that not only were odds against her in the traditional sense, people don't want you to start it, but the Ku Klux Klan was following her. and burning down buildings that she was acquiring or attempting to acquire to start a school. And not just one, not just two, not just three, but multiple times. And this woman kept going and kept going and kept going. I mean, the resiliency of African people is absolutely astounding. So to deprive our community of information about this important woman, to deprive people in general from information about this important American, it's a crime. It's a crime. So here at the Black Achievement Fund, we are about institution building. She went to Tuskegee. She was inspired by a flyer that she found about Tuskegee and ended up going there. The impact that that institution had on her led her to create another institution that has lasted for over 100 years and has educated over 38,000 Black people. That is what we're talking about here at the Black Achievement Fund when we're talking about pooling our resources together to establish our own institutions, to support our own institutions, because those are the things that have impact. A one-time donation is a one-time donation, but taking what we generate, a small amount from a large amount of people, is a huge, huge impact. I also want to talk about the help that she received. She got a lot of money from white people, a lot of money from white Northerners. Way back then, not just staying in her geographical area, but after she tapped the well of all of the Black churches in the Black community, she didn't stop there. She went north. She went to the Midwest. She cultivated relationships with other people who wanted to see Black people succeed on some level, who understood that slavery was a stain on their race, and they had resources and they were against it, and they wanted to demonstrate how much they were against it by helping Black people in these types of endeavors. And that is one of the reasons why the Black Achievement Fund is open to anyone who believes in our mission and our guiding principles, regardless of race, religion, political preference, or sexual orientation. Because at the end of the day, not all Black people are your friends, and not all people that aren't Black are your enemies. So we respect that, we understand that, we've seen that in history forever. But one thing I love that was pointed out was that she didn't just go get money from any white people. People offered her money, but there were strings attached. She had enough integrity to say, no, I'm not going to take your money if it means that I have to have this level of influence from you with this school. I'm not going to change my beliefs in order to suit your needs to take this money. So the level of integrity that she showed. Now, we all know how hard it is to get money from anybody. So to be a person in a desperate position trying to launch a whole school, pay salaries, and to reject the help of large donors, not a small amount of money, but large amounts of money, just speaks once again to the level of integrity that African people have carried from day one. So it is enlightening to be inspired by somebody who looks like us, who was a young person, a female, withstood assaults from the Ku Klux Klan time and time again. So once again, what we're doing with the Black Achievement Fund is we are trying to be the vanguard for Black self-determination. We're trying to sustain our culture. We're trying to make sure that when other people want to diminish us, when other people want to try to remove us from world history, that we're there saying that, no, here are the facts. Here are the people that you're trying to erase. We'll never let you erase those people. So I'm going to go now to the quiz that we have on this particular class. All right. And we created this quiz and this whole class under Education for Life Academy. It's free to anyone who has this link. And it's meant for you to watch the video just like we did. We have some pre-discussion questions that we asked in the beginning. And now we're going to go to the quiz that we have. All right, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the special class that we have on the video that you saw. It's entitled Trailblazer of Education, Elizabeth Evelyn Wright. These are the warm-up questions. We just watched the video assignment. And for those of you who are educators, we have 3 different summaries here. And if you would have given this to a student to watch the video and get ready for the quiz, this is an assignment to make sure that they actually watched and comprehended the video. And then here is our quiz. So I'm going to take the quiz with you all here today. So you'll see how everything is set up. So first, we want to put our name. I'm going to put BAF family.
Brother Arkey, I can't. Oh, okay. I was going to say I can't see the quiz.
Okay, thank you. You can see it. Can you guys see everything now?
I see a picture of her. Is the quiz up under her?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. So the first question is, when was Elizabeth Evelyn Wright born? I see I have to capitalize her first name. Anybody want to answer that?
1872.
All right. What was the name of the college Elizabeth Wright attended? Hampton Institute?
Tuskegee Institute.
Final answer?
Tuskegee.
The Institute. Tuskegee University.
Yep. What is the name of the university Elizabeth Wright founded?
Vorhees University.
All right. What did Lizzie Wright and her students do to help the school in its early days? They cooked and cleaned the classrooms. They farmed the land to provide food for the school. They helped construct the buildings on the school's property. All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above. That's powerful.
Right. And, again, understanding that these are the people who we came from. This is what we came from. These are our ancestors. They made a way out of no way. They literally built their schools, the classrooms, they farmed the food. I mean, it's just extremely inspiring. What happened to earlier schools that Elizabeth Wright tried to start in the South? They were taken over by local government. They were successful and operated for many years. They were burned down by the Ku Klux Klan. They were not well attended by the local community.
They were burned
Down.
Diane.
Down. We're in 2025. And if we tried to start something and a real live Ku Klux Klan burnt it down, I wonder how many of us would have the courage to keep going and going and going and going. We definitely need to highlight women like Miss Wright. Why did Lizzie Wright refuse the offer from Dr. John Kellogg to pay for the school? And I need to change that to Elizabeth. She did not want the school to be affiliated with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. She did not want anyone telling her how to run the school. She did not want to receive large donations with strings attached, or both B and C.
Wouldn't it be all of the above,
I
really?
think so too.
All right, I'm gonna change that. All of the above.
Yes.
Yeah, because it seemed like she didn't want the school to be affiliated because wasn't she a Christian too?
Yep. What was the main reason Lizzie Wright changed her name from Lizzie to Elizabeth? Lizzie was a child's name, and Elizabeth was more appropriate for a teacher. Lizzie was a remnant of slavery, and Elizabeth was a more proper name. Lizzie was too informal, and Elizabeth sounded more professional, or all of the above.
All of the
All
above.
of the above. All of the above.
All right. And again, showing her consciousness, even at a very early age, being cognizant of the fact that we're not going to carry on remnants of slavery going into the new era. My name is Elizabeth, and began in all formal interactions to be listing herself as Elizabeth and not Lizzie. Powerful statement, self-identification.
Hooja Jackalia.
That's right. What did Lizzie Wright do to get support from Senator Stanwyck Mayfield to start her school? She promised to teach at South Carolina State University. She brought a recommendation letter from Booker T. Washington. She agreed to affiliate her school with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. She offered to pay a large donation to Mayfield.
Booker T. Washington.
She got a,
Recommendation.
and I included this question because it's still important to be excellent. It's still important to be able to get a reference letter from somebody important,
Right.
someone of influence. So being that excellent, to be able to get someone as busy and powerful as Booker T. Washington himself to write you a recommendation letter just spoke to the level of excellence that she demonstrated in front of him and apparently around other people that knew her. Because someone like that is going to ask around, or he's going to have to really know you personally to be able to do something like that. So this just showed once again how remarkable of a person that she was. Oh. What was the main reason Dr. Guest initially refused to sell the land to Elizabeth Wright? He wanted more money for the land. He was still affected by the Civil War. He did not want to sell to a Northerner or a Black person. He did not want to sell the land at all.
He didn't want to.
Wanted more money.
He didn't want to sell to, I'm going to change this because this is kind of a couple things. He didn't want to sell to a Northern. Remember when he found out that A, she's Black, and B, the person who's giving her the money is a Northerner. He jacked the price up from $3,000 to $4,500.
Yeah.
What happened to the school after Elizabeth Wright's death in 1906? The school became a farm that fed the local community. The school continued to prosper and expand. Elizabeth's husband, Minnie, took over the leadership of the school. The school struggled and eventually closed down.
Prosper. The school continued to prosper.
And expand.
Yep, and expand. The school went from a college to a full
university.
University, yeah. Letting you know what she started not only had good structure, but had durability. And now I'm gonna put my email in. And once you go to the class, this is exactly how you would take the quiz and what will happen once you finish the quiz. So we got 100 together. Hit finish. And you get a certificate generated right then and there. Hold on, my internet is a little slow. Bam! That you can download and print for your own records. We have a scoreboard, and it also provides you with the right answers for all of the questions. And you can share the quiz easily on Facebook, X, and I don't know what this is, Reddit. You can also share your results. And once you take the test and put your email in, you'll get emailed your results. And that is our class. So what did you guys think of the class? And the
That was
quiz?
awesome. And thank you so much. One of the things I thought about is why we hear about Mary McLeod Bethune. Why hadn't we heard about her in the same, you know, with the same, uh, I guess, power that we hear of Mary McLeod Bethune?
Yeah.
But let me tell you something about that, because I'm down here with the with the BTC. When they came through from Washington, the people, the senior citizens in the group that I'm in, they were saying, I didn't know that about it. And they here. They saw they saw it was being done, but no way, because she was associated with the president up in Washington. That was one way she got a lot of. They had no idea. I could not believe that. Could you? That's
Yeah.
why we don't share now when some of us get, honors and do well and everything. That to me says you're supposed to be telling your children, that your family, everybody should know what you've done. And a lot of times you'll just see people, and they'll look, hi, that's great. That's great. It's hard to do that when you're Black.
It really is. It really is. So we have to continue to inspire young people. And we're trying to do it here at the Black Achievement Fund in a way that is institutional, in a way that is easy for people to understand. The questions are simple, the quiz is simple. We're trying to make it fun. We're trying to make it easy on parents to be able to teach their children, grandparents to teach their grandkids in a way that isn't too, what's the word, in your face type of thing. So for all of you out there, continue to support what you're seeing, continue to share these quizzes. The class comes with the video. It also comes with some supporting material. For example, she was recently inducted into the South Carolina Hall of Fame. So there's a great ceremony giving her her flowers, and her daughter, who is still alive, or is her granddaughter. Her daughter, I think, is her granddaughter.
Yeah, because I thought she had a son.
Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, is still alive, and they're based in California, but they were there to speak on behalf of the grandmother and that sort of thing. So share the video, make sure that you are a part of the solution. And the solution is we have to understand that no one is going to teach us about ourselves except ourselves. Miss
So
Faith,
what did you do? You got the story and then you created a quiz to go with it? Is that what you did, or it was already done?
no, we created a quiz to go with it. Um, and the quiz is shareable, and that sort of thing. So to make it easy for educators to be able to have a way to make sure that whoever they're teaching, whoever you give the video to, is comprehending what they're watching. And
Oh,
also give you a point of discussion about the video as well.
that is brilliant. I love that. That can go with anything, but especially, to promote what Black people have and are doing now.
Yes, so please share, is free of charge. Um, Ms. Faith, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. Just for those that may not know, April is Black Women's History Month. And I know you probably shared it before I got on, but after later when people are seeing the replay on YouTube, there are still so many people that don't know that April is Black Women's History Month. And something that you might find very interesting, Brother Arkey, in your home state of Virginia, they passed the HJ8 bill that Virginia has signed Black Women's History Month into law there. So I just learned about that a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, wow, Virginia has it as a law.
Now we have to make sure that they're putting money in the pot to actually finance this type of stuff. That's the other part that, how the games that they play. I went to Chicago in 2012 because Chicago, well, the state of Illinois had did something similar. They had passed a resolution in the state assembly requiring the teaching of all African and African American history in all public schools in Illinois. The problem is that they never put any money in the pot to finance any of these this education. So the former president of the Chicago School Board at the time, her name was Florence Cox, I believe it was in the process of suing the state for not financing this. And I went out there as a part of the protest and that sort of thing. And what I realized, and after speaking to some of the state senators and stuff, is that a lot of this stuff that they're doing on that level is smoke and mirrors. It's smoke and mirrors, trying to make us think that they're invested in upholding the legacy of Black people and history through the education system, when at the end of the day, they know that you're not going to put any money behind it. You're not going to enforce that. So most of the teachers are left to themselves to come up with curricula about Black people because it's not appearing in anything structured in any public school books and things like that, especially now. So
Yeah,
we
but I thought it was very enlightening that they even acknowledged it, because as different cities and she got right, the founders right with you in Atlanta, and she did get the previous governor, not your current governor, to do a commendation. It's all on the website. I put the website in the chat for people to take a look at it. But she's got the proclamations from different cities around the state, including Mayor Bowser in DC. However, I tried to get it right here in Dallas with a Black mayor and was declined. They said absolutely not. They wouldn't give me a reason. They wouldn't let me like tell me what's going on and maybe I can change it or whatever. Nothing. I couldn't go to another level to appeal it. Nothing. And another sister had the same experience in her state, with Black people. These are with Black people. So the fact that, yeah, I agree with you. A lot of it is smoke and mirrors. But what I told the founder is that she has to realize what I almost said John, Dr.
Hagen. Oh.
That started Black History Week.
The lady.
Yeah, Brother Arki know who I'm talking about. But what he went through starting Black History Week that later on became Black History Month, he probably met up with the same types of oppositions.
Mm-hmm.
Even Elizabeth in her time, she went to churches and, wasn't able to raise any, real financial money from the
2
church.
pennies.
Yeah, we had to go outside of the community. And so when you're teaching history and you're watching things like this, we're talking over 100 years ago. And we see the same problems
today,
the same weapons being used, the same strategies being used, and they're just being recycled over and over again. And I firmly believe that if we created our own curriculum that included all of the stories that we share amongst ourselves, and we provided that curriculum as a part of a rites of passage program for being a Black person in America or a Black person in general, if we structured it in a way like that, I know for a fact that we will produce more conscientious people that will be more indebted to furthering the overall Black liberation movement and not just seeking to carve out a material existence for themselves. And I think that if we don't continue to serve as a vanguard and expand our reach, we're going to lose the generation to just being what they think of as American, with nothing African attached to it whatsoever. And the biggest problem with that is that we all know that our culture is our cure, and that what makes us distinct is what makes us great. You know, our worldview is what makes us beautiful people. So the moment we lose that, we've lost our sense of self, and it's going to be extremely difficult to make a U-turn from that. So I strongly urge everyone who's watching to share this video, to share this class, to share that email that you got, because it's that simple. To look at the level of work that they have done to reverse the progress of the civil rights movement. Look how much work they did to elect Donald Trump again, because he was saying he was going to do all of these things during his election. So these people worked and worked and worked. We have to match that energy. We have to match that energy. We have to match that energy. So if you haven't joined the Black Achievement Fund, please join the Black Achievement Fund. For all of you who are joining, welcome to the family. Thank you for your support. All of the people who are joining in the Atlanta area, we want to give you a special shout out, especially today. We have some members out there who are doing a bake sale. So if you're in the Atlanta metro area, make sure you come past the Kemet Club today and support that. Um, we also want to remind everyone that we have our lapel pin for sale, which is a fundraiser for our new Kemet Pyramid One house. And I know you guys saw the update email on our fundraiser. We have surpassed the $20,000 mark. I'm super happy to say. So we need you guys to, again, continue with the same energy so that we can get to the next $20,000 and get this house built. We own the land. That was an incredible benchmark that we have achieved. And now we got to build something on it. All right. The land is not a trophy. It is there for us to utilize. All right. So please, 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 if you have any ideas for fundraisers for the New Kemet project, our fundraiser, please let us know. If you would like to do a personal fundraiser for us, please let us know. And if you have some extra cash that you want to donate, it's very easy to do. You can go to donorbox.org/pyramid1, or you can go to our website and hit the donate button, and I'll show you. Hit the donate button at the top, and it will take you to our fundraiser, or you can type in donorbox.org/pyramid1. And as you can see, we are over the $20,000 mark. You can make a one-time donation, you can make a monthly donation, you can make an annual donation. And if you do a monthly or annual donation, please note that you can automatically turn those off on your own. When you decide to make this donation monthly or annual, you'll see you can log in to edit your recurring donation at any time. All right. If you forget your login information, you should be able to go to your search button and hit donor box. or Pyramid One or anything like that, and it should come up. And if you still can't find it, you can always contact our customer service number, and Sister Shonda will happily do it for you manually. All right? And for those of you who are just tuning in, the last thing I want to say before I sign off is that we're not waiting for 10 million people. We have already started with the people that we have, and we've already made tremendous strides with a small amount of people. We purchased our first 6 acres of land with 159 people over the course of 24 months, and our members who supported it came from 22 different states. So please understand that we can make a big, big, big impact without 10 million people. The 10 million people is aspirational, it's operational for the whole Black community. But don't stay on the sidelines. Join us right now. If you got some extra money, put it towards our fundraiser. As you can see, as soon as you put the money in, it's transparent. You'll see the number go up. But we need to make this happen because this is not just for us. We're trying to show and prove that all of the things that we're talking about have real viability right now today, that this isn't some pipe dream that we're spewing, but an actual plan of action that we could utilize right now to get ourselves out of the hole that we're in. All right. So thank you all for participating. Thank you all for your contributions. Thank you for joining the Black Achievement Fund, for all of the members who are members already. And for those of you who are not a member, please become a member today. Don't wait. And all of you members, whoever's watching this, please make sure that you share this and that you share the class in particular. All right? Till next time.
One more question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, I got one more question. The movie that you had, did you go someplace and find the movie, or you know somebody who made the movies, or what? Where did you get that?
I'm just always doing research and just stumble across it.
Well, if you're using it and it's somebody else's, will they bother you? I mean,
No, because this is in the public record. This
okay.
came directly from YouTube.
Oh, it came from YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a YouTube video. Yeah, anything that I share with you all, we have a license for, or it's in the public domain.
So do you already have some more movies like that that are already done? Or can I go someplace and see the list that you have and then,
Well,
you know,
volume 1 of this series is going to feature 10 videos like this with 10 classes.
and where is it?
It's not out yet. We're working on it now. But we're going to be showcasing them going forward each week, like we're doing today.
And it's gonna have the quiz and all of that with it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you know, I'm learning about YouTube. I'm in a YouTube class, and that's what they're teaching you, how to promote it, go on. They really want you to promote whatever it is you're doing, at least once a week. They want it every day, but at least once a week. But I'm thinking if that is out on YouTube, there are a lot of people that would want it, but you would have to have the movie first.
Yeah, so when you go back into the email for this info session, you'll see the link to it in that email. And the link will take you to the full class that also has other elements to the quiz.
Okay.
Okay?
And that would be a way you could be getting money out. It'll be based on how often it was out there, because they are already destroying this. If it's in a book, but if it's on the internet, it's gonna be always be somewhere on a podcast, on something, you know.
Hopefully. So one of the things that I've been doing is downloading these things too, because they're not always going to be, anything could happen to YouTube. You know, they can take it down for whatever reason. they want. So we have to have other places in which we're storing this information that we have as well.
Streaming, all that kind of stuff. They got a lot of people doing that kind of thing just for this fact. I mean, people that have been laid off or fired, and they get their own thing and do it.
Exactly. Well, thank you all once again for all of the hard work that you're doing to promote what we're doing and to get other people to join. Continue to do it. Your words aren't falling on deaf ears. You are sowing seeds. All right. Until next time, love you guys. Black Achievement Fund hug.